Hi, Justin.
Hi.
How's it going?
All is well.
Thank you so much for doing this.
I thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Nkateko Justin. My surname is Maimele. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, businessman. Should I say young? No, not young.
Well, you basically still qualify in the
A couple of years ago, not so many years, there is this program that I normally attend to or participate. So this program was it's an initiative for youth, and this is across the globe.
Yeah.
And we normally go to different locations in different countries. So I've been attending, and last year there was one that was organized in Ghana.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh my word, I've never been to Ghana, and I really want to try to go to Ghana. And I was so excited about going to Accra, the capital city of Ghana. So, to my surprise, as I log in my details, as I put in my details and everything, they say to me, you no longer qualify.
Because you're old.
I'm old now.
Okay.
I'm old. So that's when it rings into my mind and say, look, I should stop fooling myself to say young entrepreneur. Yeah, but like I said, there's not much about me personally. I'm just a vibrant person. I'm just a very focused and committed kind of a person, a human being, and I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. Yeah, I love what I'm doing.
So, what brought you to Gauteng? Are you from Gauteng originally?
No, unfortunately, I'm not from Gauteng originally. But do you know what I say about Gauteng?
Yeah.
It's a series of opportunities and gold. So everyone comes from every part of the provinces, all part of the world, and enjoying in Gauteng because that's where that's where the opportunities are.
Yeah.
So from Limpopo and find myself in Gauteng. It's because I was looking for opportunities. I was looking for a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in Limpopo there's no breakthroughs. There is opportunities.
Limited opportunities. Let's be frank.
Of course. It's also different. It's also depend on what you're doing. It's also depend on what you're doing. There are those that are excelling in their studies. So they've got an opportunity to study. So it depends. So I found myself in Gauteng. I found myself in Gauteng for the first time that I came to Gauteng. Actually, I was in Joburg, in Soweto, Orlando East.
You have family that side?
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. I found myself there, and a friend hooked me there, and as I stayed with him, but I did not find it productive for me.
Yes.
So I thought, listen, let me go somewhere else. Frankly, I had no family in Gauteng by that time.
Yeah.
So I had to I had to come to Pretoria. I had to come to Pretoria and starting a life in Pretoria. It was.
How was that? Can you maybe take us through the challenges? Because I can imagine that it couldn't be easy moving from Soweto, where you were staying with a friend, and then you're moving this side in Pretoria, and you actually don't know a lot of people, or maybe you don't have that. Can you maybe take us through the journey?
Thank you. It was. It was more of. It was difficult, but it was more of a destiny. To me, that's what I can put it. But it was very hard. It was very hard because I just got in Afrikaans they said heartful about the whole setup of Soweto, and to understand like you coming from that setup in the rural, where you have the whole big place to yourself, and you have an open space, and now you find yourself in a very congested place where there is someone who has to tell you, no, you can't brush your teeth outside, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. And those are called must end. Those are called must end. So I didn't love the setup. I said to myself, look, listen, I actually came to Gauteng and I knew anyone, so I knew nobody, so I can still find my way. I love Pretoria, I love the sound of it, I'm going there. So I bought into my train. I took a train actually because it was hard. Yeah.
Because people don't understand the distinction between the Gautrain and the metro rail, and there's a huge distinction.
Well, we're talking about so many years ago where Gautrain was not even, the idea of Gautrain was not even there.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so Gautrain, we're talking about 2010, 2009, 2010, right? So metro rail. It was nice, Joburg to Naledi, Zimhlope, you get off, you run, It was beautiful. It was beautiful, that kind of, excitement in the train. So I bought my train and I came to Park Station. From Park Station, I moved to the Pretoria one, and I came to Pretoria.
Yeah.
Arriving at Bosman Station, I was lost. I knew no one. So I was just following the people that are walking. So if you walk down, I walk down.
Yeah.
I dropped down and I find myself in Pretoria West. And I saw some kind of, it was more like a choir kind of a thing where people had this style of getting card boxes and, just sleep.
Yeah.
In front of a building or something. So I joined that. And
where did you get your card box?
Well, ShopRite in Pretoria CBD, the one at the Church Street, next to Semi-Mark Square. So I went at the back. If you go from the back door, there is how do you call that street, Vermeulen, that it used to be. Now it's Madiba. So we got to the back of ShopRite receiving side. So there was a lot of card boxes. I had to choose the nice ones that look like a real mattress. Those ones that comes from Kellogg's. The Kellogg's boxes. They are big and they're nice. So I got a few boxes and I carried them. I went straight to Pretoria West and then I had a group of people. They had no problem me sleeping next to them. We slept. We had no blankets. We had nothing.
Yeah.
And as we sleep, because it's a building, of course, in the morning by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you need to be up. You clear up and then keep your boxes somewhere where it's not going to be damaged or stolen by anyone. At least you have your mattress for the next evening. So I had to we had to do that on a daily basis, and we started looking for for employment.
Yeah.
Started looking for employment, and there was a person, a man who was rich, who was running different kind of businesses, but he wanted people to advertise his businesses by sharing flyers on the street. Yeah, so we get a job from him, and he used to pay us. I can't really remember how much was it, but that was very long ago. And
but it was enough to keep you fed, right?
Yeah, it was more than enough. It was more than enough. You can buy yourself a bread. It was perfect. I think it was I think it was about 30 rand a day, or I can't remember how much was it. But he wasn't paying us per day. We were rating per day, but end of the week, on Friday, we all go to his office and he starts distributing money and giving us money.
But I'm curious. I mean, you're staying in a setup where you have to sleep on the street. How do you keep your money safe?
Hey, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. So we had this. Going back quickly. You know, when I grew up, when we were young, life was so tough because I came from a very poor background.
Yeah.
Life was very, very difficult, and my dad could only offer me a T-shirt, a very big T-shirt, a long T-shirt. So underneath there was nothing. There was no this luxury of underpaint or underwear that you call them, whatever that you call them, or shorts. Yeah. So I had only that long, that long jersey, long T-shirt that I'm wearing. Then it covers almost everything, and the legs had no problem. So this year now, when I'm on the card box and I'm on the card, I was privileged to have 2-3 pens. Wearing them at the same time. Wow. So you have a short inside. Yeah. You put your money inside the short, all right? Yeah. In the pocket that you're wearing the first short, you put your money in there, and now you have to bomb yourself with 2-3 pens, and jerseys. It was the same. Yeah. So even if they come to rob you, they will have to actually strip you before they can take the money. Yeah. So it was kind of impossible. It was kind of impossible that you could lose the money. Yeah. So there was no way that you would lose the money. But though we used to have a lot of incidents. When we now come from work, from town, we're going back home to sleep, and we have to cross. You see these graveyards that is in Church Street? Yeah. In Church Street, just opposite the Metropolitan, the Tshwane depot.
I see the place.
Right? I think these are graveyards, these apartheid graveyards. Yeah. So there we had the gentlemen that were waiting for us there. Yeah. They will strip us, they will take the money. We had incidents like that, but it wasn't that common. Yeah. But where we were sleeping, there was no way your money can be taken by someone. It was difficult because they literally have to remove all your clothes. And there's no way you are sleeping, someone remove your clothes, you're not gonna wake up. So it was kind of safe, outside safe kind of setup. It wasn't that bad.
So from the direct marketing job, what happens after that?
After the direct marketing jobs, so the gentleman was very, very good. He bought a house in Pretoria West, and he said this house is going to be a lodge for all his employees. Wow. So we went there and lodged there. But it was all still a mess, but much better than the street, because once it's raining, like it was that, it was hard. But then there, it was fine. And he catered for beds and stuff, you know. But then you would be mazed, you know, like you find that you are 5, 6 in one room. But it was a bigger house that had a lot of rooms. It was fine, so we kept up until I thought that no, listen, I need to move on.
Yeah.
I need to move on.
So while you were working, are you saving money? What is the setup?
Of course, because because what happened is afterwards I had to secure myself a place in a flat.
Yeah.
I had to secure myself a place in a flat where I started renting. Of course, sharing, but it was much safer. It was much better than anything else that I've gone through prior to that moment. So I started staying in one of the big flats in Pretoria that was actually owned by municipality, and it was nice. It was nice. So I saved the money. The key word was saving.
Yeah, but I mean, municipal flats are much more cheaper than the normal ones, right?
Yeah, too. It's more like an assumption. But I was not the lessee of the flat. So someone else was the lessee of the flat. I wouldn't know exactly how much. But back then in Pretoria, rental was still affordable. Was cheaper. We're talking about so many years ago. Rental was cheaper. It was very cheap. You could pay around 250 rands.
Wow.
Yeah, for a place to stay.
Room.
Not the whole room.
Yeah.
But for a place to stay. But then you had a whole room that you could pay around 500-700, depending on your ability.
Yeah.
Yes, because like you mentioned that maybe they could have been cheaper as well.
Yeah.
Compared to other ones that are owned by private. Yeah, so you would get a flat. You get a flat that will go, the whole flat that was 1.5 bedroom. That will go for 1,500.
Wow.
So you find that I'm only paying 500 and my landlord is paying around 1,000 rand. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So take us from the streets and then now you're in the apartment.
From the streets to the apartment, I started doing all kind of jobs, and then I found myself doing security. And
so how do you get yourself certified to be a security? Were you going to training? What was the setup?
Okay, well, how it started is in the same building that we used to live, there was a security company that was there.
Yeah.
And one day there was a shortage of staff.
Yeah.
There was a shortage of staff, and they needed to satisfy the clients.
Yeah.
So they had to call people who are willing to stand as security.
Wow.
To come through. So we came there, and I worked for that company. They liked me.
Yeah.
Then they suggested that, look, you need to do your training.
Yeah.
Then I went and do my training as a security officer.
And how do you go from being an employee to an employer?
You are running so fast. Because from that space to being an employer,
yeah,
I can promise you that I've done more than 10, 15 jobs.
Wow.
Yes, because it was a series of moving from one place to another.
Yeah.
Series of one company to another.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
So all of the jobs that you did, all of them were in security, or did you change?
I did change sometimes. You know, it was a survival.
Yeah.
You know, it was a survival. So anything that would pop in, anything that will come, I will take the job, and then until I get to what I needed. But as you correctly mentioned, the issue of from being an employee from the street and being an employee and then being to come to an employer.
Yeah.
So this goes back when I was young. When I was young, I had a dream of becoming a military man. I had a dream of joining the army.
Yeah.
And I you know, my dad was very privileged that back those years, so many years ago, we could afford a TV. We had a TV.
A TV?
Yes, we had a
the
TV.
Black and white.
We started with the black and white, and then there was a time that my father had to upgrade, and he brought a color TV, and it was wow, like everyone was coming from everywhere to come and watch TV at our home.
So it means that you guys had a car, right? Because you have to use a battery for that.
So when my dad bought the TV, the first TV, he had no car. But I don't know. He was a man of plans.
Yeah.
He was a man of plans. So
I do remember that there were places where you can go and have it. There's like a little liquid that they have to pour in that car battery so that you can. I don't know what they call it. But you used to have a place like that where you just take it and then they refill it and then they charge it for you and then.
Well, so in the olden days, all the vehicles had batteries, and the batteries had liquid inside, acid. It's more like acid.
Yeah.
So the acid was actually the battery could have been refilled. If you want to be refilled, you want it to be refilled, you can refill the battery.
Yeah.
So they get to pour that water. They normally call it water, but it was an acid.
Yeah.
They get to pour that water and then redo it's more like refurbishing your battery. Yeah, so it would last. Yeah. So my dad at that time, when he brought the TV, so we watched a lot of American movies. Your Rambo, your Chuck Norris, you know,
Yeah.
all those American movies.
Yeah.
So every time I'm watching these war kind of movies, I get to be excited because there was always a general sitting in the office and giving orders, right?
Yeah.
Then there was this man who used to go with the people to the war, but he was a commander, right? So he was a commander of a troop or a group of people that they go to war, and he's got his people that comes and report to him, and he report to the seniors. So there was this specific rank that I love so much, and I wanted to become a lieutenant.
Wow.
I wanted to become a lieutenant, and every time they were like, the lieutenant is coming, and they will be like, yes sir, yes sir, you know, salute and that respect, that power that the lieutenant had, that power that the command that he had, you know,
that's what inspired you.
It inspired me to be in the army. And I told myself that I will be in the army, and one day I will have this rank. And one day I will have a group of people that will call me sir and salute, you know? And then I was so inspired the way everyone else will be dressed, but the lieutenant was different. The way he dresses up and folding his uniform, and the ranks, the ranks he had on, how many stars he had on, and how how he behaved, and just the dressing code was very inspiring.
Yeah.
So as I grew up, I thought I'm gonna be in the army, and things did not work out the way I wanted.
Yeah.
They did not work out the way I wanted. So I said, nah, it's fine. But then as I grew up, and all the struggle that I went through, with all the struggle that I went through, I said one day and tell myself, wait a minute. I can still do something that is more of an army kind of or related job.
Yeah.
That's when the idea of a security company came to me. And then I said to myself that I am going to own a security company.
Wow.
I'm going to own a security company. I said to myself that, look, no one has made me a lieutenant.
Yeah.
No one has given me a rank of a lieutenant, but I will be, and I will make it for myself.
Yeah.
And that was the motto. That was my inspiration. I say to myself, and I keep telling everyone else, even my employees at the office and outside, I say to them that do not allow your dream to die.
Wow.
If someone else did not make you who you expect them to make you, make yourself. Make yourself.
That's beautiful.
There are opportunities. There are opportunities in life that allows you to express or to open up your dreams. You know, in my language, they say if you don't have an aunt, you know, in the concept, what concept are they trying to? What kind of message they're trying to say is, you know, aunt were more like guardian angels. Yes. You know, those were like guardian angels. When you don't have food, you run to your aunt, to your uncles, and you know, something like that. But aunts were the most welcoming. Aunts were the most, you know, caring, and the most loving people. If you had no aunt, you had a bigger problem. Yeah. So there was that idiom, or you call it proverb, that they say that if you don't have an aunt, make one for yourself. You know, as they say that the child is not yours, but belongs to the village, right? So if you see that you don't have an aunt, you create one from next door yourself.
How do you create an aunt?
You do, you do. Just like when you don't have a dad, you can make your dad. You can make yourself. You can give yourself a dad. You can give yourself a dad. Just walk to a person that you think is worthy to be your father, is worthy to be your dad. Just call him dad. Just give him the respect that you think dad deserve. And if
so naturally they will gravitate to you.
They will get the idea. They will get the idea that no, I'm now a father. Somebody is now calling me dad. And that excitement, when it comes into their head, they're like, wait a minute, this is my child. You know, this is my child. And it becomes naturally. It becomes natural. So when you don't have an aunt, you create one for yourself. You choose one for yourself. So that is the whole idea of saying that, listen, you should stop blaming everyone else for your failures, for not allowing your dreams to come true. You should stop doing that. You know, one thing you should understand, that the world does not care. The world does not care. But you care about yourself. You care about your dreams. So if you care about your dreams, make your dreams come true. From the smallest things efforts that you make, it can make you grow. And the whole motor, the whole idea, the whole inspiration that kept me going to this moment is that fact that I don't need government to make me an entrepreneur.
But it will take a certain amount of discipline for you getting a little and then trying to build from a little. Because if you hear a lot of people, they'll say that, yeah, but how can I save when I can't afford? You know, that is the general answer that you will get from a lot of people. So the discipline that you had, you had to have discipline in order for you to take that level that you're getting and pile it up until you manage to, secure a company.
Of course. Of course. You know, one thing you should understand that you can never succeed in business if you are not disciplined.
Yeah.
Never. Discipline is the first thing that you should apply when you are in a business.
Yeah.
And I think in all works of life, discipline is a capital letter.
Yeah.
Discipline is a capital letter. Is the greatest thing that you can ever have. You understand?
Yeah.
In a sense that, if I could quickly give you an example, in 2009.
Yeah.
In 2009, there was a fellow brother from Limpopo also.
Yeah.
He won a tender. He won a tender of building RDP houses, right? He won a tender of building RDP houses, and you know, it was a lot of money. The tender was worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
This guy was a entrepreneur. This guy was a businessman. He won a tender. You know, when he won a tender and the government paid him, oh, yeah, mtakola nasasware. He became something else.
Yeah.
He became something else. You know what he was doing now? He goes to young women and say, baby, which car would you want to drive?
You know.
Which car would you want to drive? No, I love a 4x4. By that time, there was this hard body that was released, Nissan hard body. You know the Nissan hard body, the double cab? That was the time.
Yeah.
The beautiful one. I want the maroon one. And then he goes to the garage and paid cash.
Yeah.
And give it to the woman. I am not advocating that people should not give khurwaska badge. I'm not saying that. I'm not on that level.
Yeah.
The level that I'm talking about is you must understand that business it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Business is seasonal. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Right now, as we are having this conversation, I've lost about 7 sites, big sites. But I am calm about it. I'm composed. I'm in myself. Why? Because I know you lose some, you win some. You cannot win all the way.
But you didn't finish the story of your friend.
Yes. As I was going, he did that. He did that, and he Naraget Koloi, the BMW, the 5 Series, the 3 Series, on. Those were the cars that he was driving and buying and stuff. And surprisingly, the money got finished. And he told himself that I'm in already.
Yeah.
Kinalili million accounting.
Yeah.
People think million can't get finished. But they do get finished. From the time you start removing 1 rand, before you know it, the million will be gone. So he thought the million is not going to finish. It got finished. And sad for him, he never got another contract. He never got another contract. Ushe just nasilo. I don't even think he even managed to buy himself a house, a home to stay. To live in.
That's very sad. It's another episode of I Do It.
So what I keep saying to my fellows and friends and employees, I tell them that look, it is not. I see in our countries we've got this mentality of thinking when you are earning a lot of money, you are managing your life and you'll be able to save. that is a wrong mentality. That is a wrong mentality. I've seen a gentleman of those years when we were sleeping on the street. He get out of the street as we got a job. We moved to other jobs. He decided to sell sweet and cigarettes on the street. Do you know that this guy was the first guy who bought a car amongst all the group of us staying there? He bought cars, and then he opened his own business. He had a garage of panel beating, and he lived fine. Right before us, so many years before us, right? So I think it's not about how much money you earn.
Yeah.
It's about how are you able to save. That is the most important part of it. And what you are saving in, are you just saving money inside the bank, or are you investing in something that is beneficial for the future? Some people may not be saving money. When you check their account, they have nothing in their account. But they have assets. They have things that they are equivalent to the same money that you keep in the account. And their assets are growing interest. Their assets are growing annually, but your money is decreasing in the bank. So you see, people don't understand the strategies of saving. Management of your own personal life determine how much and how far you can go in terms of the success or in terms of the successful idea is.
So basically you're saying that it doesn't matter how much somebody's earning, they just need to manage it better.
Exactly my point. You know one thing that I always say to people, you can earn, you see, the more you earn, the more your responsibilities goes higher.
Yeah.
So someone who's earning 20,000 rands and someone who's earning 5,000 rands, you will be surprised the one of 20,000 rand is asking for taxi fares from someone who's earning 5,000 rands.
Yeah.
Have you realized that the most poor people are the ones who can give you something, who can assist you? But the people who think they are well off, they are not able to assist you. You know why? It's because they are not able to save, and they find themselves with so much responsibilities. They've got cars to pay for, they've got houses to pay for, and depending on what kind of houses they chose, depending on what kind of cars they want to drive, so it depends. So saving it's a greatest discipline that one has to adopt in life.
Beautiful. So you saved up until you can get can you tell us the initiation or the establishment of your company? What was the story behind after saving?
Okay, so with the security company, there is a lot that is involved.
Yeah.
There's a lot that is involved. Initially, there's a fee that you have to pay to register a security company, and there are a lot of things that you need to go through. There are processes that you need to go, which also need money.
Yeah.
But with me, I always tell people that don't you ever want to start a business with a loan, or someone gives you money to start a business. No, start a business with nothing. And when your business is now going to the direction of survival, then you can then ask someone to assist, to lend a hand, to give you a kind of boost. But I can promise you now, for me, since I started my business, up to this stage, no institution, no banks, no government department, no human being has ever given me money to sustain my business. So what happened is I registered my company. After I registered my company, that was 8 years ago. 8 years ago now. I started with Cipro, which everyone knows that Cipro is just kimezi fela. There's nothing that is very serious. You can register Cipro. They even made it very easy now that you can even register online and you don't need to pay anyone to assist you. But back those years, we were paying someone to assist us to register a company. So I registered a company. I basically had nothing. I had nothing, but I had a company, papers, and from there, the kind of savings that I did, they assisted me to meet up the requirement with the CIRA. CIRA is a private security industry regulatory authority. So they're the ones who regulate the security companies. Yeah. So with the savings that I had, though, they assisted me. Those savings assisted me to meet up with the criteria. The criteria are a bit complex. You need to have an office, and office need money. You need to have chairs in the office. You have to buy them. You need to have a 1 year comprehensive, or should I say, a professional business plan, and that will need money. You need someone who's good in computers to do that for you. Yeah. So those were the jobs that my savings did. But after that, I had nothing. I moved into my office. Where I was operating, and every day I wake up in the morning, I go to my office. Every day as I wake up in the morning to go to my office, I had no client. And I needed to service. Telcom was on my neck. I needed to service them for their line, for the landline. Internet, I needed to buy internet. I needed to service the rent of the office that I took. It was a lot. Up to a point when one day, as I wake up in the morning and I'm going to my office, I love my formal, dressing. I'm putting on a suit and I'm going to the office with my bag. And I arrive, I find that they've locked my office. Yeah. They've locked my office, all my certificates, I've got no copies, everything is inside there. Everything was inside the office. It was hard. They locked my office.
And how do you keep yourself motivated in such a situation?
Listen, I'm by nature, I'm a very calm kind of a person. Yeah. When it comes to, I believe that raising or being alarmed does not solve problems. Yeah. When you have problems, I think it's more right if you have a composed spirit, if you had a calm spirit, so that you can think straight, so you can be able to measure the good and the bad, and being able to make correct judgments. But you cannot make correct judgment when you are under pressure. When you put yourself under pressure, it was hard. It was hard, and remember, as I told you, that I had no one here. I had no house. So I was also renting where I was staying, and the rental also was due. Yeah. I had nothing to do. The only thing I could remember that I had it was a car. I had my small car that I was driving to go to work with, and I found myself that I cannot pay the rent. Yeah. And one day I was also kicked out of the house, and I told myself that I need to go to sleep in my car, because I had no choice. Business, every morning when I get to the office, I had a chair like this. I will just round my chair like this. No calls, no one to call, No emails. When I check, every second I was checking my emails before 4:30.
Yeah.
I'll check my emails, no calls, no emails, no nothing. And it was very, very, very difficult. It was very difficult. Everything collapsed.
Yeah.
I was indebted. I think I owe everyone.
Yeah.
I owe everyone, including the CIRA, and they were threatening to deregister my company.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult, to a point that I decided to go back to job market.
Yeah.
I decided to go back to job market, and I got a job. But the job wasn't paying that much. It wasn't paying that much then when I started.
Yeah.
I worked as a driver in the diplomatic mission. I worked as a driver, and from there, all I was doing, and this is one thing that I need to tell someone out there.
Yeah.
Never ever throw your dream because you have failed for the first time.
Yeah.
Don't throw your dreams. Your dreams is literally your life.
Yeah.
It's literally your life. Throughout my work experience, I've always felt like something was missing. Every time when a boss comes and tells me, I want you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I feel offended. No, I wasn't angry. I wasn't disrespectful at work. I respected my work, but I feel offended. And I keep sitting down and ask myself, why every time they give me instruction, I feel offended? Because I was not fitting in that setup. My setup was sitting in the chair where I give people instruction, not the other way around. I felt that the entrepreneurship is where I belong. It's where I have to be. So it didn't really matter how much money I could have been earning from my employers. But what matters is keeping my dream alive. So I stayed at that work, and all throughout my years that I worked there, mostly was to pay the debts and improving my business.
Yeah.
Mostly was to pay the debts and improving my business. And that's what I did. I had to deny myself everything. You could imagine if you walk into my house where I was staying, I barely had 5 trousers, 5 pants. I had about 3 pants, and I could not, for so many years, I could not buy myself anything. Because all the salary that I was getting, it was going to the business. It was going to the business. And surprisingly, my first car that I bought in the job that I was now, besides the previous one that I had, the car that I had before, the first finance vehicle that I bought then, I branded it my company, but I was still working at the embassy.
Were they not offended that you're driving a car then?
No. Yeah. When I applied for a job, they asked me a question, what brought you here? I told them that no, actually I'm a businessman, but my business has fallen, and I'm here to recover. They said, okay, you are welcome. Right? So always be true to yourself. Always be true to yourself. You know, in life you need to identify who you are and where you fit. If you don't identify who you are and where you fit, you are meant to fail. You understand? Identification, personal identification is not about umupedi, umotonga, umotwana, or utwagaikai, utwalimpopo. That's not what I'm talking about. Identification is where exactly life is putting you. In which position are you in terms of life? So when you identify yourself, when you give yourself an identification, you are meant to succeed. And then there's this word in English that I love so much. This word it carry on throughout my life. This word is called follow through.
Yeah.
Follow through. Oh, there's never been a word I love than that word.
Yeah.
If English existed, and as it is existing, the only word I admire in the dictionary is follow through. When I wanted to understand what is the meaning of follow through, and I went into dictionary and read the follow through, there was one part of explanation of it that I love so much. It says, continue to do what you are doing.
Yeah.
So continue to do what you are doing. In other words, it means that don't shift your focus from where your focus was.
So tell us about the job, the driving job at the embassy. How was that?
The driving job was a very wonderful job.
Yeah.
It was a very wonderful job. It's a great experience. So the first time I had my first boss that I was driving.
And before getting the job, how long did you have the license? Did you have the license coming to Joburg, or you had to do it all by yourself, the driving license?
No, the driving license, I had to acquire it when I was doing your security jobs, your peace jobs and stuff. I had then to do the license.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the process. You need to equip yourself.
Yes.
You need to equip yourself. You cannot tell yourself that you are aiming to become bigger while you cannot equip yourself. You need to bomb yourself with things so that when a person sees you, there is no way they will deny you because you've got all it takes. Right. So I had a license. I had a license then I applied for a job. And then I got a job. They took me, though it was an African embassy.
Yeah.
All the embassies are from outside, but it was an African embassy, and there was couple of officials that were not happy with me.
Yeah.
They did not like me
Yeah.
for the fact that they had a bad, understanding about the South African,
Was it because of the xenophobic vibe or what?
No.
Yeah.
No, it was not about that. We have this, negative, thing that is following us, where they think it's not about the xenophobic. They think that South Africans are mostly violent, mostly involved in the crimes, So they had to give me a hard time, go to the police station. We need your, your fingerprints to be verified. And while they did not do that with other colleagues, but I understood. But when I started, then I had a boss. He loved me so much. And this man could not speak English.
Yeah.
He was, because the embassy ultimately was, eventually was from a French-speaking country.
Yeah.
So he could not speak English. But the way we were so, we were so going along.
Yeah.
It was so nice. Then he had two wives.
Language was not a barrier.
No, it wasn't. He had two wives.
Yeah.
And the two wives were living in the same house. Then it was kind of an experience, I've never seen someone like that. It was my first time. Yeah. He was from an Islamic, grouping or religion. And he had two wives, and the experience was nice. Those people were very, very nice. They were very welcoming. This man could just see, he was a very generous man, could just see me coming to his office, and then he said to me, here, go and buy milk for yourself. Yeah. He gives me 1,000 rands. There will be a time that he's gonna just, I don't know what was happening. I don't know, maybe it's just a good spirit or something. He just take out the 4,000 and give to me. He was a very generous man.
Yeah.
He was a very generous man. It was hard to work with him because he had a temper.
Yeah.
He had a temper, but He had a temper, but he was more like a, you know, this characteristic that God wants us to have, the characteristic of being forgiving and forget about everything. Whether someone offends you, you quickly, you know, brush it off and it's done. So he was that kind of a guy. So he can come and start screaming, shouting, and in 1 second he's done. You can get angry for the whole day. He's done. He's done. He's got no problem. You will fight, but one day, 1 minute, he's done. You know, there was a time that he sent me to go and change the tires of the vehicles in town. And our office was in Arcadia. And I went to town, and he was supposed to knock off. So he started calling me, but he did not tell me. Then he was like, where are you? Where's my vehicle? Bring my vehicle here now. Bring my car. You know, the embassy vehicle. I said, no, but I'm not done. You said I must go. Actually, I went to take a quotation. You know, no, why are you delaying? If you're not here in 5 minutes, you will find me here. You will see. Then I got there. When I got there, he started screaming. He was already waiting for me at the door because he needed to go. He started screaming. I told him, Chief, in our country, we don't scream. We don't scream to people like that. You don't scream to employees like that. We don't do that. We don't do that. You know what? I'm sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of being your driver. You know what? Here is your keys. I didn't even give it to him. I just threw them on the floor. Then, in 1 second, he saw that I was emotional. Kind of like, I wasn't crying, but I became emotional. Funny thing is, this is my boss. He also became emotional. Then he called me and said, you see, no, just take the keys, you know? Just take the keys, let's go. And then when he finished, he bribed me with money. He said, no, just forget about it. You know, I just screamed, but there's nothing serious, you know. And he was that kind of a guy. Very nice guy. Very, very wonderful guy. He would just shout and stuff. And, you know, just to cut the story short, I got a lot of promotion because they loved me. They loved me. I was so dedicated. I was so committed. And they were so surprised that I have a company. I have a security company. They can see me coming with branded vehicles. A branded vehicle by then. They could see me coming with a branded vehicle. They see that I've got a vision. But they still ask themselves, why was I that humble? Because they were shocked. They were shocked how humble I was. And ultimately, I became the official driver of the ambassador himself. Ultimately, I became the official driver of the ambassador. Me and the ambassador, we will drive from here to Botswana, we'll drive from here to Swaziland.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it is. And listen to this. When I joined the ambassador, when I started driving the ambassador and started driving the most expensive car, the most speediest car, like a car that is speeding, like, you know, these ambassadors, how they love bigger cars, those cars that cost millions. So those are the cars that I started driving. And you know what happened? I started meeting presidents. You know, they tell the ambassador that he's got a meeting with our president, and then I have to drive him. I arrive there. I'm his driver. I'm close to him. I approach also the president. Sometimes the president shakes his hands, and he shakes mine too. And there was a time that I started driving foreign.
How did that feel, being around big officials?
It was very nice. It was very nice. He was a kind of a very strict person, because he's like a father to me. Till today, he's like a father to me. He's no longer here. He has moved back to his country because his contract got finished. But even today, we're still talking, and I call him father. Back then, I was calling him sir, but now I call him father. He had spent it. He was black. Black in complexion. sorry, black in ethnic kind of African black,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But he was darker in the complexion,
Yeah.
right? But his heart was more like of a white person. He lived in Europe
Yeah.
for 40 years. He lived in Belgium for 40 years. So he was that kind of a smart kind of a guy. So today, if I'm dressed like this, today if I know how to dress and how to choose nice things,
Yeah.
it's because of him. I was, when he left, I told him that, I really copy a lot of things from you. He said, what is it that you copied? I told him that your elegancy, your smartness, and your punctuality. The man was very punctual.
Yeah.
He loved punctuality, and he was a straight person, very, very straight. He didn't want anything. You don't fool him because he was not a fool. You're not gonna deceive him.
Yeah.
You couldn't deceive him even at once. So, but he had this character, He had this character. When you don't have money completely, you are broke.
Yeah.
You will see him at the back of the car. At the back of the car, he's counting money. He's counting money.
Yeah.
You are broke. You don't even have, fuel to put in your car. He's not gonna give you. He won't even think. But one day as you are just seated, you just see him call you, and he gives you an envelope. When you check the envelope, there's 1,000 rand inside. He was a generous person, very generous person, and he still is because he's still alive. He's a very good person, but he was very, very strict about work. He didn't like things.
Yeah.
He was very strict. So I learned that even in my business right now,
Yeah.
I realized that punctuality is not only about coming to the office early.
Yeah.
Punctuality is about attending to the needs as early as possible.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that I've seen, failures that I've experienced in the business, which were caused by lack of punctuality, lack of attending problems, speed, and then they came back and hit me hard.
So currently, what are the challenges that maybe you have facing?
Okay, so the challenges are multitude. They are many.
Yeah.
They are many. The challenges are many, but the greatest challenge is being an African entrepreneur. It is not easy, and especially in our country, it is not very easy. I've been to so many African countries. I've seen that in some African countries, the kind of treatment that they give to entrepreneur, it's very different from what we get here. You understand? And the way the government encourage the entrepreneurship, it's not only by speaking, but by action.
Yeah.
You will find that it's a bit difficult here to run a business. So the challenges here, the first one would be securing contracts.
Yeah.
Securing contract is the most challenge that almost every business person is facing, and especially when you're an African black child. It is very difficult because when it comes to government, there is a lot of protocol. So for you to get a tender from government, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And you know that those topic and show they all run on the TV and talk about how they're supporting entrepreneur and stuff. All those are just histories, stories. They've never happened to me, and I don't know, and I don't wish that they should happen to anyone else. If you have a dream, follow your dream and find your ways. Find your ways. Because government is going to tell you about how they support entrepreneurship, how they support people to excel in business so that they can employ many people. But you know what they do? From tender document, just a tender document, they ask you, some department ask you buy a tender document. That's one thing. Second thing, they make a tender document very difficult to a point that someone who does not have a very stable income in a business cannot even fill in a tender document. Do you know that one tender document consists with 70 to even 100 at most pages? So tender document is the most difficult thing ever, because you then have to print 70 pages or 80 pages. That is just a tender document. Then it goes to supporting documents. Some government entities, they even go to a point whereby they're not ashamed of asking you to print 4 copies of an application. 4 copies of an application. So do you know what does that mean? If your tender document is 70 pages, your supporting document is 30 pages, meaning it's 100 pages. So if you have to print out 4 copies, meaning that the whole RAM is gone. The whole paper, the whole box of paper is gone. You understand? And that is a lot of cost. It's a lot of cost, and that is not even a guarantee whether they will open your document. That's one. Secondly, thirdly, when you go into the tender document, they are the things they need, they are out of this world. There was a tender that I went to apply for. It was a uniform from a certain department that I wouldn't want to mention. And they were looking for, they insourcing the security. So they were looking for a company that can supply them with a uniform. Do you know that when I went through the requirements, and I find the colors of the uniform that I've never had in my entire life since I was born, from primary school to high school and to the tertiary level. I've never had those colors. There is a color, it's looking more like a khaki, but it's not a khaki. And they expect you to get that color. You phone all the suppliers that you know that supply uniform. They say, no, we can't get that. We don't know that color. The complication of things, the things they ask for. You ask yourself, someone who has just started a business now, today, where are they going to get this? How can they get this? How do they stand a chance to even compete? It becomes difficult. I'm not even going to go into details about their selection. Leave that one. We move on, right? Go into the private sector. Private sector is a bit complex. Private sector, you get preferences. If you're an African, you can only get jobs. If no other race is interested in it or competed for it. Right? So with us in the private sector, it's like, take it or leave it. That kind of mentality, take it or leave it. So you find that you are surviving on crops. You find that you really need to take whatever that you get from the private sector, because your government, it's impossible to get there. Private sector, here it is, at least they're giving you something. It's not like not giving you anything. At least they give you something, but with an attitude of take it or leave it. It goes to an extent whereby you will sign a contract and stipulate in your contract that every year fees need to be increased because the cost of living will increase. But you know, it came to a point whereby when that year ends and you want to increase the fees, you send a notice. They tell you, no, we've got financial issues. It's either you continue with the same amount that we're giving to you, or we will tender out our contract.
So basically you come with a disadvantage on the tender negotiations.
It becomes a problem. I'm not here to discredit. I'm not here to discredit anything.
Yeah.
Like I said, the good thing is in the private sector there are jobs.
Yeah.
There are jobs, but all you need to do is to be clever enough.
Yeah.
To be clever enough, and to weigh your to balance, to weigh your options.
Yeah.
So in the private sector, it's not going to be easy take.
Yeah.
It's going to require a lot of effort,
Yeah.
and those efforts will take you long to succeed, because where you were supposed to do a job that will cost 20,000 rands, you find that you are doing a job that is it's for 20,000, but you're doing it for 10,000 or 15. So then you have to work around that. You have to work around that figure. So that's where your mind comes from. That's where your mind comes in actually, to try and see how do you balance the equation. How do you stay in a business and render the service, satisfy your clients, and get satisfied too. So it becomes a balance there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Justin. It was a pleasure talking to you. What would you say in closing, maybe to your clients or to someone who wants to get into business?
Look, one thing I would say, business, and this is to be noted, business is not a quick scheme to make money or to get rich. Business is not the quick scheme to get rich. People get fooled. They think when you're a business person, you're sitting with a tie, with a suit, you're making a lot of money, and that is not the fact. When you get into the business, you must understand that if you are working twice at a certain company, and now you have your own company, you have to work double of that, right? So business is about sacrifice, is about effort, is about discipline, and is about self-control. Those are things that you need to apply. And the last one, which is I would recommend, that is the most. It's the highest commandment. Is focus. Right. So, but it is hard to make it, but it's doable. Right. So business is not a death sentence. That people think, oh no, in business it's hard. I'd rather be an employee and get my salary end of the month, and I don't have to worry about anything else. No, it's a good challenge, right? And I can promise you now, the money you make in the business, it is not as a result of it's not as a result of transaction of from client to service provider, which ultimately lead you to become wealthy or to become rich. But it's actually, according to me, a reward from hard work. Right? So business is going to reward you very, very handsomely, very good, if you work hard. So I encourage everyone who's got dreams of becoming an entrepreneur. Do not give up your dreams. Do not think it is too hard. It is hard, but it's doable. Do not think that you cannot make it, because those who make it, they look different from you. Never ever have that mentality. And do not allow someone to discourage you in business.
Yeah.
What you're doing it right according to you, because according to me, there is no right. The right depends on the doer.
Yeah.
The right depends on the doer. So there is no a certain formula of making money, of being rich. There's no a certain formula.
Yeah.
The formula that you use will ultimately take you to your destination. But in short, business is about creation of employment. That should be the first goal when you're getting into the business. Like contribution, when you are contributing to someone's life, when you are bringing bread on their table, you are inspiring someone.
Yeah.
You know, as I gave you an example quickly, as I told you in the beginning that I lost about 7 sites.
Yeah.
And there was one site that was left aside that I did not lose.
Yeah.
But I had no guard there, because the person we worked together decided to remove the guards there at that site that was left with me.
Yeah.
And you know, I went there as a matter of emergency to try and see if I can get the site to satisfy to get the site covered to satisfy the client.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? One gentleman walked to me and said to me, "You know what? I believe in you. I believe in you." I don't know him. He worked for me.
Yeah.
He worked for me. All I was doing is paying his salary.
Yeah.
But I didn't know him in person. He walked to my car and he said to me, "I believe in you, sir. I want to work with you. Wherever you go, that's where I will be." Right? So what I want to say is, there are people who believe in you, no matter the kind of situation that you're going through, no matter the challenges that you may face. There are people who believe in you. And those people who believe in you, they will ultimately walk the journey with you. Do not give up. Continue to do what you're doing. The key word is
Don't quit.
This is the word that's always been in my mind. As I said to you that follow through is the word. Follow through, never give up, continue to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Justin.
Thank you so much.